Lizards of Sagefield Marsh, a Darlunia short story, by J.L. Rees. Part 1. The deranged dragonfly inn was bustling with chatter and rumors of a fallen star that came crashing to the ground just days prior. Two guards of Chiropolis sat enjoying a drink and listening to the tall tales and gossip being told. A grizzled man with a wooden leg hobbled over to the pair of guards. "I want you to go and get that star for me." "Why would we do that?" said the blonde guard. "Because there's 100 gold in it for you, each." "What's so special about it, and why do you want it so badly?" said the other guard that had spiky brown hair. "I'm Sagefield's best blacksmith. I want to use it to make something," the blacksmith replied. The two guards looked at each other, shrugged, and agreed to retrieve the meteor for the blacksmith. The guards had extraordinarily little information to help find where the star had fallen. "Somewhere in the marshes." "That's really helpful," said the dark, spiky-haired guard. "It's 100 gold each. I, Callan Skysmith, could certainly use the money," said the blonde guard. "Or does Onyx Brimstone not need the money?" he continued. "I admit it would help buy a few components and ingredients for my spellcrafting," replied Onyx. Plop, squelch, slurp. "Looks like we've hit the marshes," Callan said, as he pulled his foot out of a puddle of sludge and tried to shake it clean. "I think I found some dry land here." Onyx pulled his friend up onto a piece of dry land. "This is a total guess, but if we stay between these clumps of grass and reeds, we should stay dry." "I hope so," replied Callan. Minutes passed when they came across a shallow-looking lake with an island raised in the middle of it. The sun had started to go down. The island started to glow with the light from torches and lanterns of the inhabitants of the island. "Who or what do you think is on that island?" asked Onyx. "Beats me. Wait, come to think of it, I'm sure there are lizard men out here," answered Callan. "Lizard men? A bit sexist. I think you'll find there are also lizard women." "Okay, how about lizard folk?" Callan answered as he stared at Onyx. "Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. I was just saying I didn't want us to offend anybody," replied Onyx. "Fine," Callan huffed. The two guards crept closer and closer, hopping from each piece of dry land. They reached the shore of the tiny land mass and ducked into the overgrown grass. Tall lanterns flickered against the darkness and were spread almost equally along the coast. In the middle was a red, glowing rock on a pedestal made of bones. The inhabitants of the island danced and sang around the rock, with chants and hisses. On closer inspection, the inhabitants were indeed lizard people. "Looks like that's the rock we need," said Callan. "But how will we get it?" asked Onyx. "We need a distraction," he continued as he fumbled through his pockets. "What are you looking for?" Callan said, as he glanced between Onyx and the dancing lizards. Onyx pulled out a wooden mechanical toy bird, wound it up and clutched it tightly in his one hand. From another pocket, he pulled out his wand and cast a spell that ignited the toy bird. "Hot, hot, hot," he said, as he aimed and released the bird towards a tent made from animal skins. Within moments, the tent was ablaze. The lizard people scattered in all directions in search of buckets of water to extinguish the flames. "Now's our chance," Callan said, while he dashed toward the glowing rock. "Wait for me," Onyx exclaimed, trying to keep up with Callan. Seconds later, Callan and Onyx stood in front of the meteor. Onyx slowly stepped forward and reached for the rock. The intense heat from it began to burn his hands. "Ouch!" he cried and searched his pockets for something to wrap around his hands. He was in luck and found gloves. Onyx slipped them on and reached for the rock again. Onyx." "Shush, I'm concentrating," Onyx whispered back. "Onyx, leave the stone," Callan suggested. "No way, it's what we came here for. It's ours for the taking." "Seriously, Onyx, leave the stone." "Why?" Onyx asked. "Take a look around," Callan instructed. Onyx sighed and looked around. "Oh, I'll just put this back," he said while he placed the meteor back onto the pedestal and gave it a reassuring pat. to make sure it was placed securely. The two guards were now surrounded by hissing lizard people. "Run!" Onyx shouted, but it was too late. The lizard people pounced on both of them and grappled them to the floor. Their hands were bound, and each guard was dragged up onto his feet. Pushed and prodded, they were marched into a wooden cage that was swiftly locked behind them. "Great! How do we get out of this?" Callan slumped to the floor.